Hey guys, it's Yuta. So, there's many interesting anime in this season, and I think interesting is the right word. For example, Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, or いじらないで Nagatoro-san. I thought this was going to be like Takagi-san, which by the way is a great anime that you should watch. But as soon as I started watching it, I realized I was completely wrong. The premise of this anime is very simple. Nagatoro, who is a first-year student, mercilessly teases our main character who is a second-year student. But the way she teases is a little bit extreme. Nagatoro and her group are kinds of girls that we call gyaru, who have a distinct style which usually involves heavy makeup and tanned skin. So the contrast between her group and the main character is pretty significant because the main character is not the type of guy that these girls usually associate with. But look at the evil smile of Nagatoro-san and the intimidated look of the main character. This is like straight up bullying. It's like combining Takagi-san and Uzaki-chan and make it 100% more intense. Nagatoro-san's extreme tsundere puts Taiga from Toradora to shame. And at the same time, there's an overt sexual vibe. This anime looks pretty sus. I should keep watching to find out more. But don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm looking forward to the next episode of this anime and check the comment section for Among Us references. It's strictly for research purposes only. But did you guys notice that despite her sadistic behavior, she always speaks politely to the main character?
先輩いつもの倍くらい挙動ってますけど女子の部屋入るの初めてですか
Here she's using mas and su, which is a contracted version of mas. The main character is senior to her, so this is how she's supposed to speak. No matter how hard she bullies him, she never crosses this line. Levels of politeness is like the 80 field of the Japanese society. You can bully your senpai all you want. Just use the right levels of politeness. That's how things are. Now the translator of this anime did a pretty solid job, but many of these nuances are lost in translation. So if you want to understand anime deeply, you need to learn Japanese. And if you want to learn Japanese with me, I will teach you the kind of Japanese that real-life Japanese people today actually speak. So click the link in the description and subscribe. But at least with Nagatoro-san, both characters are high school students, which isn't the case with the next anime, Koikimo, 恋と呼ぶには気持ち悪い. This anime is morally and legally questionable. I know it's the point of the anime because 気持ち悪い means creepy, but still, it's questionable. So the story goes like this. Ryo, the fuckboy, falls in love with Ichika, your regular weeb high school girl, after she saved his life and called him creepy. Ichika, the weeb girl, happens to be a friend of Ryo's little sister. He starts pursuing her pretty aggressively, sending her unwanted gifts. He follows her around even she's not happy with it. And Ryo's little sister also has a very questionable take on this. She's the one who gave Ichika's home address to Ryo so that he can send unwanted gifts. She also urges Ichika to call her brother so that he can have her phone number. The first episode was pretty uncomfortable to watch. This is like how to lose a guy in 10 days. So kids, don't do this at home. But if you look at this anime from a broader perspective, it's actually not that different from your usual Hollywood romantic movies. A guy falls in love with a girl who doesn't love him back. So the guy pursues her aggressively, doing some questionable things that can be kind of like emotional manipulation. Eventually, the girl gives in. Sounds familiar, right? The interesting thing is, a typical romantic anime doesn't always follow this kind of pattern. With many romantic anime, the story revolves around the characters' inability to communicate openly. So in a way, Koikimo is much more straightforward. And there's this common theme of an ordinary girl attracting an extraordinary guy. Ichika is just your usual weeb girl who is not particularly attractive or popular. But Ryo is super handsome and smart, and lots of girls talk about him, including Ichika's classmates. So this is a common trope. This anime is actually not that original, except for the questionable premise. But our next anime is probably the most controversial anime of this season, and that is Higehiro. After being rejected, I shaved and took in a high school runaway, or ひげを剃る、そして女子高生を拾う. The title already describes the questionable situation. Yoshida, a 27-year-old guy, finds a runaway high school girl on his way back home from work. She offers sex in exchange for letting her stay for the night. You can already see this is a very bad situation. Now, this could have been much worse, but Yoshida refuses her offer but decides to take her in regardless. The girl tries to seduce him a couple of times more, but Yoshida manages to say no. This is a very tricky situation, and it's actually illegal in Japan to let a minor stay at your place like this, even if it's consensual, because it's considered a form of kidnapping. Some people actually get arrested in real life for the same situation. And in this anime, there's a sensible adult character, Suba, his colleague, who offers common sense advice that would give him the least trouble. But dysfunctional families are real issues in real life, and we don't really know what would be the best situation for the girl's perspective. So this anime could actually be great because it addresses real social issues. But it's not completely serious either, and there's a little bit of a harem situation going on. So I don't really know where this is going. There's a moment in this anime I really liked. It's when Yoshida is going outside to smoke because he doesn't want to smoke in front of the girl. And the girl says that he's nice because he's considerate. And this is what Yoshida says.
今までの人はさ、私がいようがいまいが構わず吸ってたから。
いいか、俺が優しいんじゃない。そいつらがクソだったんだ。勘違いするな。基準を低く持つな。正しい尺度で物を見ろ。
わかった。
I can totally relate to this because I've said a similar thing before. I think I've been surrounded by decent human beings in my life, so being a little considerate is just a normal thing. But I've also met people who haven't. They have pretty low standards when it comes to people, just like the girl in this anime. This is the type of anime that can make people feel uncomfortable, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. This kind of thing totally happens in real life, and fiction doesn't need to have a main character who's completely on the right side. I also like stories that explore the ambiguity of moral values. But then again, a lot of nuances are lost in translation, so if you want to really understand Japanese anime, you need to learn Japanese. And if you want to learn Japanese with me, I will teach you the kind of Japanese that real-life Japanese people today actually speak, which can be different from the kind of Japanese that textbooks and apps teach you because they can be unnatural and outdated. So click the link and subscribe to my email group, Japanese with Yuta. Alright, see you guys soon. Ciao, ciao.